And welcome to kickoff session on the Google Cloud Ready Facilitator program. Before we start our session, I request you to maintain decorum of the session all time. If you have some questions during the session, please feel free to write them in the chat and we will answer them as quickly as possible. I'm Professor Nandan along with Jai, who is going to answer your queries in the chat. We are from Kamani Science and Prataprai Arts College, Amreli, which is among the few institutes across India to facilitate the program. Now it's the time to introduce you to the Google Cloud Ready Facilitator program. But before we do that, let me dive into why you should consider building a career in the cloud right now. As we all know that cloud is a booming technology these days, and the IT companies across the globe are shifting their traditional infrastructure to the cloud. So the shift is generating a higher demand for cloud engineers. Now, using the resources which are provided to you, you can learn about Google Cloud services and become eligible for such positions. Most of you guys are currently in your university phase, which means that you have strong theoretical knowledge. But in order to launch your career, you need to have certain industry skills. To get those industry skills, you can begin your journey with the Google Cloud Ready Facilitator program. Now that you know what is the program and why you should consider building career in the cloud, let me tell you what your program journey would look like. Your first task will be the Google Cloud Study training session where we will conduct your training and give you some head starts. In today's session, we will give you an introduction to some basic of Google Cloud, and we will also provide you with a head start on all the track that you are supposed to do in the program. In each session, we will cover some hands-on practice lab, and during the session, we will set you on the path where you can earn your Google Cloud Skills Boost Quest badges for each track in the Google Cloud Ready Facilitator program. You might be wondering, what are these badges? Well, badges unlock deeper understanding and have learning benefits as well. As to give you an overview of the program, there are 4 tracks you have to go through, which are mentioned in the slides on your screen. Now let's go through them all one by one. The first track that we have in the program is called Cloud Infrastructure track. By completing the quest under the Cloud Infrastructure track, you will learn and demonstrate proficiency in key infrastructure topics to prepare for careers such in cloud IT and DevOps. We have total of 10 quests and 8 skill badges under this track. Not to worry, we will provide you with enough support so that you can complete them all. The next track is called Cloud Native Application Development track. By completing the quest under this track, you will learn and demonstrate proficiency in key topics related to cloud native application development to prepare for roles such as developer and full stack engineers. This track also consists of 10 quests and 4 skill badges. Third, we have the Big Data and Machine Learning track. By completing the quest in this track, you will learn key topics related to BigQuery, Big Data, and Machine Learning to prepare you for the roles such as data analyst, marketing analyst, business intelligence professional, and data engineer. This track also consists of 10 quests and 4 skill badges. Lastly, we have the security, machine learning, and artificial intelligence track. By completing quest in this track, you will learn key topics in such as uh, security, machine learning, and touch of AI to prepare for the roles such as security engineer, machine learning engineer, and so on. This track again consists of 10 quests and 4 skill badges. This is the most advanced track in our syllabus. Alongside the quest badges, we have uh, that you will earn after completing the quest from each track. You also have a chance to earning something extra. For example, Google Cloud Skill Badges. Skill badges are used to show that you have actually applied your new learned skills using a challenge lab at the end where you have to take your new learned skills for a test drive. Here is a small video giving you an
Cloud
overview
skills
of what
are in high demand.
are the skill
A
badges
massive
and why they are
86% of
important.
IT leaders say the skills shortage is slowing down their cloud projects. There's now an easy way for you to hone your cloud skills, fill this gap, and demonstrate your cloud competencies. Introducing Google Cloud Skill Badges. You can earn badges for a range of Google Cloud products and services like BigQuery, Kubernetes, Google Assistant, and more. Simply complete the interactive labs, which cover the latest in-demand real-world skills you need today, and take a final assessment. Pass that and the badge is yours. Use your badges to gain recognition in your current job or to help land a new role. In fact, a third of HR professionals say that digital badges carry weight in the hiring process. Ready to go? Start earning Google Cloud Skill Badges today.
After you acquire them, do remember to add them to your resume and to professional profiles and share it with your network to prove that you have the in-demand skills. It is also important to understand the difference between quest and skill badges and why completing them is so important in your journey. In brief, quest badges are self-paced, step-by-step guided lab which helps you learn and perfect the concept. Skill badges, on the other hand, are the challenges that you will perform which will help you to showcase your ability of newly learned the skills, both of which you can share on the resume. However, skill badges have more important than quest. Here are all the skill badges that are part of the program and you can earn them in different tracks. We have total of 20 skill badges in this program. Okay, moving on to the program schedule. Registration started on 25th April, which are now closed, and the final deadline to collect all the badges is 25th June. After that, your progress will not be recorded. Uh, if you like, you can go to this link on the screen. In this link, you will find a syllabus for the program where you will get to see all the labs you have to do to earn badges. Apart from this, we have something special for everyone: Google Cloud branded goodies. In order to get them, you have to collect quest and skill badges. Based on the number of badges you have collected, you will receive goodies. The most exciting one from all this is the Career Readiness Program seat, which will open door to getting certified Google engineer from Google. That is our ultimate milestone, the fourth one, in which you have to collect all 40 quest and 20 skill badges to get a chance. We will share more details on the same to everyone who will achieve the ultimate milestone. And one more thing, you must have an internet connection and computer to complete this program. Alright, now that you know what the program is about, let's start with our first study gem. In this session, we will give you uh, some introduction on facilitator program. Then we will be covering some of the fundamentals of the Google Cloud, and we will also be introducing you to few of the services on it. As this is a hands-on learning event for you, so we will also be implementing those services on the Google Cloud training platform known as Google Cloud Skills Boost. This session will be hour or maximum of 3 hour long session. Today I think it will be a little bit shorter than hour, or maybe little bit shorter than 3 hours, but it's okay. We will make sure that you, by the end of it, you have the correct understanding of the program, as well as we will give you a small head starts. Before we jump into hands-on session, I would like to share some information about Google Cloud Platform and what the cloud is all about. Many of you must have played Pokemon Go, or at least knew someone who was a huge fan of the game. The Pokemon Go is a mobile application that uses many services across Google Cloud. When the game launched, team anticipated 1 times of player traffic, and they also estimated roughly 5 times of initial target. Pokemon Go's popularity caused the traffic to surge rapidly. The player traffic reached 50 times of its initial target and 10 times of the worst case estimate. The application was able to scale to meet the demand with the reliability and scalability provided by the Google Cloud services such as Google Kubernetes Engine, HTTP load balancing, and the Google Cloud Data Store. We will learn about some of these services today. Now you might be wondering, what is cloud? In simple terms, the cloud is the delivery of computing services. There are main three types of cloud-based services, infrastructure, platform, and software. Infrastructure includes raw resources such as virtual machine, networking, storage, and so on. These resources are the fundamental building block of cloud computing. When you consume infrastructure as a service, you have greater control over the resources but also greater management overhead. For example, consider a virtual machine. You may need to install, upgrade, and patch all the software required to run your application. You can configure your virtual machine to scale based on the load on your application. Google Compute Engine, networking, and load balancer are examples of infrastructure as service. Platform as a service provides a platform with managed services where runtime environment and network settings are pre-configured. This makes it easier for you to develop and deploy your application. Google App Engine is an excellent example of platform as a service. Google App Engine comes pre-configured with runtime environments such as Java, Python, Node.js, and so on. Software upgrades and patches are automatically applied. Load balancing is also pre-configured. This enables developers to focus on the application logic only instead of worrying about infrastructure setup. With the software as a service, an entire application are managed and made available in cloud environment. Gmail is an excellent example of software as a service. To give you an overview, imagine the infrastructure needed for an online game. You can use Google Cloud Services to store object data such as images and video files, high volume or semi-structured data such as streaming or gaming data, and relational data such as user ID, name, and so on. There are multiple options to do the same thing, such as Kubernetes Engine for your application runtime environment. This is where your application code executes. You can also build apps which use other services like Google Maps and YouTube. With the cloud-based services, you don't have to set up and manage your own infrastructure. You can simply focus on developing your app and then use managed cloud services to make it available globally in just a few minutes. Now it's a time to introduce you to our hands-on learning platform, Google Cloud Skills Boost. I hope that by now you have created your Cloud Boost account and have also redeemed the 2 month credit pass that you would need for the program training. If you have still not done that, then please follow the steps that I am about to show you in order to get them. First of all, look at look and find the email which should be in your inbox or the spam folder. It will have all the instructions and URL to redeem your credit pass. Unfortunately, the code you receive via email is unique to yourself, so we cannot share that directly. And once your month pass is over, you will given another month's credit, so you don't have to worry about it. Here is a video which describes the process. The same was the link for the same was shared with you in the email. The lab is called a tour of Google Cloud Hands-on Lab. The link will the link in the email will lead you to this lab, and once you are here, the lab on the lab page, just click on Start Lab. Now you need to be present on this lab page for at least 10 minutes before you can end and get the credits. I guess many of you are trying to follow these steps, and some of you are done with it. So, in the meantime, let's get some more information about a few important terms of Google Cloud Services. All the Google Cloud Platform services are associated with a project that is used to track and manage resources, quota usage, enable billing, manage permissions and credentials, enable services and APIs. Identity And access management, the can-do part is defined by an IAM role. An IAM role is a collection of permissions. Most of the time, to do any meaningful operations, you need more than one permission. For example, to manage instances in a project, you need to create, delete, start, stop, and change instance. So the permissions are grouped together into a role to make it easier to manage. The who part names the user or group to whom the rule is granted. To give a user or a group the desired permissions, you grant a role to the user on a resource. Next important term is regions. Regions are independent geographic area that consist of zones. Locations within region tend to have round-trip network latency of under 5 milliseconds. A zone is an isolated location within a region. You can think of this as being similar to a data center. A zone is designed and set up to be independent of the other zone within region. In the rare case that one zone goes down, the other zones are still operational. To enable fault tolerance, you should deploy your application across multiple zones. For example, if a zone is affected by a network outage, your application will still continue to function if it is deployed across multiple zones. A zone is a development area for cloud platform resource within a region. Zone should be considered as a single failure domain within a region. In order to deploy fault-tolerance application with high availability, you should deploy your application across multiple zones in a region to protect against unexpected failures. I think the task which you were doing for the lab is over by now. So now it's time to end the lab, and once you do refresh the page, wait for a minute. You should now see the 1 month pass in your profile. Don't worry if you cannot see it. We have some troubleshooting tips for you. You can verify this monthly pass by looking at your profile, by clicking at your profile picture and verifying that it says monthly subscription. If you are facing any issues on the Google Cloud Skills Boost platform, such as account block, quota reset, a lab session, or in worst case you have not received the credit, then please reach out to support team via email, or you can also have them contact via chat support. Now, uh, many of you have already completed this lab, so you can skip or sit back and just watch the live stream. And those who are yet to start, please follow along so that you can start your journey. You have to first enroll into the quest, which is called Google Cloud Essentials. Once you are on the page, you should see this blue button. Click on it and you will be enrolled in the quest. In this quest, you should see that we have 5 quests. We will go through the first 2 labs in the quest together right now, and other labs you will have to do on your own. We will give you a small introduction for the other labs as well as, so you don't face any difficulties. Initially, we planned to go through 4 labs, but due to some technical issues, we are not going to do 4 labs. Instead, we will just do 2 labs. In the first lab, which is part of the Google Cloud Essential Quest, and Quest is known as a tour of Google Cloud hands-on labs. This lab is already part of getting credits for the program, and I guess we have already completed this. We can skip it, and it must be showing on your screen that you have already completed it. You can see the green tick on the page. In the second lab, we will be creating a virtual machine using Google Cloud platforms. Since this is Quest lab, we get step-by-step instruction on what we have to do in the lab. In this lab, we have 2 main tasks or objectives. Let's to perform. There will be some part of page you can avoid. The quest page should look like this. Like I said, you can skip some part. For example, I will not be reading as I know what I have to do in this lab. You can directly go and look for the task 1. In task 1, we have to create an virtual machine. But before we start working on lab, we need credentials to log into Google Cloud Console. To do so, first click on the Start Lab button and wait for the credentials to load. Once that is done, we can right click on this Open Google Console button and open it in incognito mode. As you can see, username will be there. We just have to press next, and look for the password. We can copy the password from this page, paste the password here, and we can click on next page. We also have to accept the license, and remember to use incognito mode all the time for each lab so that you don't run into any issues. And the process which we just did is similar for each lab, and I'm sure you will get used to it in no time. Uh, Next, we can see for the instructions. The instructions are very clear. In this lab, they are saying that we have to go to the navigation menu, which is right over here, and in that look for the compute engine. Okay, compute engine, and then we have to select VM instances option. On the page, we have to create an instance, so we'll click on this button, create instance. But before creating that instance, we need to make sure that we are following the instructions given on the lab page. That is very important, as if you don't follow the instructions, then there is a possibility that you will fail the lab, and you will also have to do all the tasks again. So first of all, I will just read the instructions. To create a new instance for this lab, we have to name the instance as GCE lab. So I will be naming GCE lab. Then for the region and zone part, they have given us, for the region we have to select US Central 1 LOAW, and for the zone they have given us US Central 1 F. I will just make sure both zone and region are the correct one. Then they have told us to select N1 for the machine configuration series. So I will be selecting N1. Then they have told us to use 2V CPU machine type. So I will be selecting that, N1 standard 2V CPU. They've also instructed us in this section that the CPU will be 2 and the RAM amount is 7.5 gigs. Next, for the boot disk, we will be selecting 10 GB balanced persistent disk OS image, and for the operating system we are going to use Linux. It is already configured, so we don't have to change it. But still, they have told us to use Buster, and we have Bullseye. So I will be changing the version of the operating system, Debian GNU Linux 10 Buster. You can see the change is done. Next, they have told us to enable HTTP traffic. So I will be enabling HTTP traffic. And last step is to create on. Click on the create button. Now click on the create and wait for the machine to start. You can see the progress on the page. If it started, then here it will be marked as green. Okay, so it's started and it's running. We can check if our task 1 is finished. Last step for the task 1 is to open SSH window. I will just click on this, and we are getting connected to the SSH, and as you can see, the score is increased. We have received 10 score, but I have completed my task, so I will be clicking on the this button, but it says that we need to install a Ninjax server as well. To do so, sorry, we will use this command, and we have to perform this in SSH terminal. We are in the SSH terminal. I will be pressing the command. Then as this is Linux platform we are working on, it is advisable to update the system before installing any new software. To do so, I will use this command and wait for it to complete its execution. Next, to install the Ninjax server, I will be using this command. It should take a few minutes, and once that is also done, we need to verify that our service for the server is running or not. To do so, I will use this command to check if the service is present or not. But service is working, and to check the progress, I will be clicking on this button as well. As you can see, I have completed my task 1. It will take some time for it to recognize the progress in the Google console. So give it a minute before getting any sorts of wrong thoughts. For the next task, we have to create an instance of virtual machine. This is also virtual machine, but this time we will be using Google Cloud Console, or you can say Google Shell. Instead of using GUI elements, we will be using Shell. To execute command in Shell, we have to click on this Activate Cloud Shell button and wait for few minutes to it to load. In the meantime, if we click on this external IP link, we can see that our installed Ninjax server is working well. Google Shell is quite similar to any SSH or shell programming shells. In this shell, we have to execute this command. This is basically a command that will create a virtual machine. Remember, we have when we were creating a virtual machine, we gave some parameters such as name, zone, machine type, and region. All those parameters are given in this command as well. We are creating computer instance, create the name of our virtual machine, then machine type and zone along with its region. I will copy this command and execute it in the shell. We also need to authorize this to use the gcloud commands. It will take a few minutes, just like the previous one did. To check the progress, we can click on this refresh button, and as you can see, our newly created virtual instance is up and in running state. We can click on this button to check our progress, and we are done. We have achieved 100 score by completing all the tasks in the lab. Now we can click on this end lab button to end our lab. It can take, once again, I would like to remind you that it can take few seconds to record your progress. So before ending before ending the lab, make sure you have secured 100% like I did. On the instruction page in yellow flag. Once you are at 100%, you can close the incognito window, and then you can end the lab. Click on submit. You can review the lab, or if you like, and we are done with the lab 2. To start working on lab 3, which is getting started with Cloud Shell, we will go back to our slide, and I will give you overview of this lab 3. In the lab 3, you will be learning about Google Cloud Shell and how you can write commands if you choose to use the text over Google Cloud Console. You might be wondering that what is the shell cloud or cloud shell? Well, cloud shell is a Debian based virtual machine which makes it easy for you to manage your cloud platform projects and resources. The Cloud Shell VM is a pre-installed Google Cloud SDK and other tools. Cloud Shell provides command line access to virtual machine instances in a terminal window that opens in the web page. We have done the similar process in our last lab. We created virtual instance or virtual machine using one command. In the lab 4, you will be creating a cluster using Kubernetes and deploy application on the platform. You might be wondering why to use this. The reason is inconsistency in the development and production environment can result in your application working well in your development environment but failing to develop on deploy on or run optimally in the staging and production environment. For example, your local development environment might be running Ninjax version 1.15 and SQLite, but your test and production environment might be running Ninjax version 0.4 and MySQL. Even if all environments are running the same type of software, they might be running different version of the softwares. Errors caused by differences in the environment can be difficult and time consuming to troubleshoot, and the inconsistency affect the overall reliability of your application releases. Uh, in the lab, you will learn about Docker container, container registry, and Kubernetes Engine. So to give you a brief about all this, Docker container image is used to create a repeatable and reliable developments. Consider packaging your cloud native application as a Docker container image. The container image for your application is a complete package that contains the application binary and all the software that is required for the application to run. When you deploy the same container image on your development or test and production environments, you can be assured that your application will perform exactly the same way in each of these environments. Container registry. Container registry is a private Docker repository for your Docker containers. And last one is Kubernetes Engine. Kubernetes is an open source platform that compute network and storage on behalf of your application. A Kubernetes cluster consists of at least one cluster master machine and multiple worker machines called nodes. Nodes are compute engine or virtual machine instances that run the Kubernetes processes necessary to make them part of the cluster. Kubernetes Engine is managed service for Kubernetes, and Kubernetes Engine enables rapid application development and iteration by making it easy to deploy, update, and manage your application and services. In Lab 5, you will be setting up a website and to maintain its availability, you will use and set up load balancers. Imagine an online shopping site that has announced a 3-hour sale between 6 p.m. and 9 p.m. on a particular day. Thousands of customers also hit the website at 6 to take advantage of the sale. The website starts off well, but soon it becomes unresponsive. Heavy volume and sudden spike in traffic can cause your servers to become overloaded and run out of resources such as memory. Load balancing is a process of distributing network traffic across multiple servers. This enables a single server is not this ensures a single server is not overloaded by heavy demand for your application. By spreading the incoming requests evenly, load balancing will improve the responsiveness and reliability of your application. Great job. We are so proud of you that you have made it this far. Now it's a time to tell you what steps you have to take next in order to get yourself trained in the Google Cloud infrastructure track of the Google Cloud Ready Facilitator program. Uh, you need to complete the rest of the quest and skill badges remaining in the track. You would have already completed the Google Cloud Essential track after this session. Also, remember we have talked about all the skill badges earlier. It is really easy to earn when you have already completed a quest. All you have to do is complete one more challenge lab after completing the quest related to that skill badge. Once you have completed all the quest and skill badges, this is how your profile would look like. You would have to earn all of these amazing badges issued by Google Cloud, which you can share with your network and add to your resume and professional profiles, and showcase that you have the necessary skills and hands-on practice on the Google Cloud. We will be monitoring your progress, so be sure to complete quest as quickly as possible so you can reach the ultimate milestone. If you get stuck, feel free to use our WhatsApp group to seek help from us. Also, if you haven't joined it, find invite in your inbox. Also, don't forget to look for the same in spam. If you haven't received, we will send them again. So look for that as well. And one last thing, we are always here to guide you and help you. However, there are some other ways you can get help. One is to use chat support like we mentioned earlier, and another one is to drop an email. That is also what we have shared with you. In addition, this program is self-paced, meaning you have to perform labs at your own time and on your own. If you get stuck, we are here to help you, but we cannot guide you on each lab in the program. I hope this makes sense. But we will be sharing a document which will help you. If you need a step-by-step guide, then this document will contain links to the YouTube videos for each lab, including the skill one. We will also be hosting a weekly Q&A session on WhatsApp every Thursday, starting from next Thursday. So if you have any questions, be sure to join the session. Time we will share with you via WhatsApp. And thank you so much for joining us for this session. In case your questions are not answered in the session, please feel free to ask them on WhatsApp. Hope this session was helpful and you are ready to start your journey to the cloud. And we are really excited to see your progress in next couple of days. Thank you very much.